I don't particularly like to be on the videos.
Whatever. Okay, cool.
What? Your topics are
we started?
Yeah. I don't know how to make it go back and forth. Talk a little bit.
Not a problem. Hold on.
No, see, it's not. It's either all you or it's all me.
Oh, well, no, it's bouncing back and forth right now.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
No. I mean, not on my screen, it's not.
You're not looking at YouTube, though.
Oh. Yeah, but that's got a delay.
Well, nonetheless, I'm still looking at it.
Okay. Oh, got it. We got it. All right, let me get you. Whoa, get out of here.
Although I'm not seeing you now, so whatever. It's no big deal. Oh, there you are.
Let me get YouTube up. Let me get YouTube up. God damn it. Let me mute YouTube. All right, let me get. There's YouTube. Muted tube.
So there's nobody in here right now, so we're free to just talk about stuff.
Yeah,
we can warm up. Welcome everybody to another episode of This Whole Everything.
That's right.
I'm Yule.
That's you over there.
That's Lewell on the other side.
That's me.
I got coffee.
In a Yeti cup, no less.
A beer.
I have tea. See?
And if I have anything else, I'll change the picture.
Oh, look at that. Diablo Hashcraft. Welcome to the live stream that will become a video and saved for posterity forever.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you think that podcast that you did with my girlfriend went?
It went well. I forgot to put in the chapter timestamps so people can't skip to stuff if they want to. I need to go back and do that. I just remembered to do it and then I forgot again.
Right.
But other than that, it went quite well. Garth Nix liked the tweet that I sent out about it, which was kind of amazing.
Bravo.
Yeah, that was cool, man. It was very cool. But it went. No, I doubt he listened to it. I wouldn't listen to it if it was about my book. You know what I mean? I mean, I might in the beginning, but he's been a famous author for so long that why would he bother?
Mm-hmm.
But just because he liked it means that people that follow him may be aware that he liked it. You know what I mean? Like, Can you see, if you follow somebody, can you see what they've liked?
Yeah, maybe. Sure.
If you look for it.
Because on Twitter, you can see what they like and retweeted and stuff like that.
Yeah, TLDR.
So just for anybody in the future and for Diablo Hashcraft right now, we are talking about TLDR, which you have renamed, right?
Yeah, we renamed it.
What do you call it?
Because Jill's like, that's stupid.
I don't know what TLDR is.
Too long, didn't read. Anyway, yeah, we retitled it. It's just now called Read Along Sci-Fi and Fantasy or something like that.
Sci-Fi and Fantasy Read Along.
Yes, that sounds right.
Along.
What's up?
Oh, Fantinuum's in the room. Hey there.
We're just getting caught up.
Fantinuum.
But yeah, I think it went well. I was happy with it. It took a long time to edit because it was a little bit different. I don't know why it took longer to edit, but it did. It was a little bit of a bee. Took me all night that night to get it edited. Like by 6 a.m, I was basically finished, but it was still going to take too long to get it up online. So I just waited until Monday. That's it. It went well though. Yeah. It went well.
Well, I listened to it. I thought it was pretty good.
Good.
I thought Jill was she was pretty much a natural. She knows, she's listened to a lot of different podcasts that have to do with books. This one is Sabriel, which is a Garth Nix book that the both of you have read. And I thought it was pretty good. I liked it a lot.
Nice. You've never read it, correct?
No, I'm not that into young adult books, or really I'm not into the mixing of fantasy and real world. So even if I really wanted to read it, it probably wouldn't be something that would be, or even if it wasn't young adult, it probably wouldn't be something I'd be into too much.
All right. Well, I don't want to go into it too much here, but I'll talk to Jill about some of the stuff that you just said. I have I have reason to dispute it, but I will talk to Jill about it in the next episode, which is 2 weeks from now. But anyway, now we have people in the chat, and I'm sure they're here to talk about comic books.
Woo,
and we've basically gotten caught up. So why don't you start us off, Yule? Welcome to the show, everybody. Let's go.
Yeah, welcome to the show, everybody. First up, I'm going to stand up so everybody can see my cool shirt that I'm wearing. Craven the Hunter. Anyway.
Did he cut a lion in half to make
that? That is a lion's mane.
Yeah, it's a lion's face.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a lion's face.
Yeah, face and mane, I guess.
Yeah, he cut a lion in half with his muscles.
Yeah, there might have been a knife involved.
You know what craven means, right?
Cowardly, I think, something like that. Or no, maybe not cowardly, but definitely a person that's underhanded, let's say.
I think craven means cowardly. I mean, I think it's a direct synonym.
Mm-hmm.
They already did, man. He's not allowed in the States anymore. He's on PETA's hate list. They might be a hate group, come to think of it.
I think this is John Romita that did this shirt. That'd be my guess.
Stand up again and say something, because it keeps me on the screen.
So I think it's John Romita. I'm just not sure because I haven't been looking at the old stuff recently. So I would have to look at the Ditko and the Romita and see the difference between the two of them. But I still think it's a Romita.
Did you notice that belt is extremely impractical?
The one he's wearing?
Yeah, man, it's got huge spikes on it. Like, what happens if you swing your arms a little too much and blam, impaled on your own belt?
I know, and that's definitely ivory, I'm sure.
What if some lady or man wants to hug him? They can't. They cannot.
Yeah, and he's also wearing capris.
Good Lord.
They ride up, or would they be knickers? I'm not sure. Anyway,
I'm not real good with my my ladies' fashion, so.
Oh, I've got an itchy nose. I'm going to try and keep doing that when you're talking.
Yeah, there you go. Itch your nose right now, buddy. I can see it, but no one else can. There we go. Perfect. Get your finger out of there.
Well, I know, really. It's like a shave. Gets all itchy and everything. Anyway, comic books.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. What would you like to talk about?
Why don't you tell me what you read last week that was of note?
Do you want me to put the picture on it now, or, Okay, I'll do that. Why don't you talk to me?
I think it's probably a good idea. If you're going to talk about stuff that you read, I mean, I think people would rather see that than you or me.
Yeah, and nobody wants to see me.
Oh, Yule, you're a funny guy. Like when I look at people that I know and love, I don't know what it is, but like I don't see them the way that I saw them the very first time I ever saw them, right?
Right.
I think that's the way it is. People become accustomed to the people that they like, and they see them, and there's no judgment there, even if you've got your finger up your nose, which I know you probably do right now.
Oh, yeah, I'm totally got my finger in my nose. Sorry, I was blocking that.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Are you getting set up?
Yeah, I'm getting set up.
Hey, Diablo says he liked the Nightcrawler book last week. Did you read that?
Oh, was that the Age of Apocalypse, or Age of X, I should say, one? I did not read it.
Slacker.
Well, it was from like a week before, and I don't know. I just really haven't been into this. Well, we'll see. I'm going to be talking about it.
Nightcrawler's the Russian dude, right?
No, he's a German.
German?
Yeah.
Wie geht's? Wie geht's? All right. You got to be set up by now.
Yeah, you'd think I was.
I would, yeah. Yeah. I think you were doing something else instead of setting up.
No, I was. I just wasn't sure on how we wanted to do this.
Look, there's Craven on the book cover.
I know.
I'm going to push the button.
Like a planned it.
I'm going to push the button so nobody sees me for a while this happens. Yes?
That's fine.
Okay,
I got to move my microphone, but yeah.
Bye-bye. All right, it's a good show, everybody. See you next week.
All right, I'm not watching chat right now.
I'm watching for you. Don't worry. I know Jill's not here. What's she doing? She's not working.
I don't know what to say.
She's not even in chat.
Sabriel.
Man, no, she's not. I promise you she's not. She said she was going to wait.
Let me just see. Nah, that's worse. Okay, very good. So I read Amazing Spider-Man last week.
Yeah.
I liked it. It had 2 stories, and I got to admit, I only read the first one. Whoops. It was all about Kraven and how he's been going around and collecting. Basically, we find out he's been collecting supervillains so that rich people who wanted to go and hunt animals, well, they could hunt them. And he's trying to make them into killers and stuff like that. They
can hunt supervillains?
No, all right. So, you know how a rich person will pay to go in?
Okay, stop. It's called the Great White Hunter. Yeah. And that is like the trope that was H. Rider Haggard and all those guys. They go off and the safari and they kill an elephant.
Yeah, but not safari style. It would be more like the Jimmy Johns guy does. He goes in like a nice little area where the rhinoceros has been drugged and then he shoots it up.
That's Jimmy Johns?
Isn't that the name of the guy that does those sandwich places?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, maybe not him, but you know how there's people that do that. Pens basically where they get a lion.
Yeah.
It's not real sport. It's just, shooting things.
We had a president a long time ago. He wouldn't shoot a bear. Old Teddy Roosevelt. They had a bear in a cage. And they were like, here you go, Mr. President, shoot the bear. And he's like, fuck off.
Whoa.
Sorry, blue language, everybody. I gotta spoil every episode. I gotta do it, y'all. I'm sorry. This is a show for adults.
Adults. Except for you kids. Your parents are gone by now anyway. We bored them.
I didn't read the Squirrel Girl team up, did you?
Is that in this one? I don't think so.
No, it's a comment from Diablo.
No, I don't. I don't read Squirrel Girl too often. I tried. There was a Kraven the Hunter story actually, and it's not that I necessarily like that character, but I thought this would be interesting. I'm going to read this. I think the Savage Land was involved. I do like Kazar. It was it was not my cup of tea. Let's just say that.
All right. So tell us about this here. Tell us about this.
So anyway, Kraven has been collecting people that go and hunt animals in cages, basically, and he's been teaching them to be better hunters. And at the end of the first story in this book, this is an all-villain spotlight. Here you go. You can see these people and what they do. So instead of hunting rhinos and elephants and whatever, he's given them real sport, and he's taking all of Spider-Man's villains, which are, with the help of Arcade, he's taking Spider-Man's villains, and he's making them available for hunting for these people.
Nice.
Yeah, and then there's a backup story, and I can't remember exactly. I think I looked at it, but it didn't really, I didn't care. But the first story was good, and it's part of the Hunted storyline, which is just about to start up. I do believe Humberto Ramos is going to be the illustrator, and I'm a really big fan of his. So I'm really looking forward to it. This was a good issue that I read last week.
Half of an issue that you read.
Well, half of an issue. I'm sorry.
Let's be honest and specific.
Well, at the prices these comics are these days, and for me to only read half the book and actually like it, don't even worry about the second part.
Well, nobody says that they read half of a book.
Look, I read the main story. That's what it was.
You are bad at reading.
Yeah, well, let me tell you. Coming up are some really bad books.
Oh, good. I love bad books. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't like really talking about how poor books are, but
that's okay.
These next 2 books, and I don't want to insult anybody that likes them or anything like that, We all have different tastes. I've said in other podcasts or other shows of ours that I don't like Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't like Guardians of the Galaxy. I never am going to like Guardians of the Galaxy. It has
Who's
nothing to
that
do
green
with.
lady?
Pardon me?
Who's the green lady?
Gamora.
Yeah, Gamora. Yeah.
She's from Warlock, which are comic books I
Delicious.
read way back in the day.
Yep.
And those are great. Gamora was the daughter, the real daughter of Thanos. They've changed her origin now and stuff, but she was a stone cold killer. You can trust her. Now she's just a love interest.
Yes.
Anyway,
yeah, they did ruin her.
Heroes in Crisis #6. I did a tweet where I said for the store saying Heroes in Crisis came out. It's very dark and depressing out because of the rain. And this makes me want to take Xanax just like the weather.
Ooh.
I didn't tweet that way. That was horrible what I just said. I said it way more concise.
Whoa,
anyway, this book, if you haven't been reading this.
Do you know what I'm seeing right now?
Say what?
Do you know what I'm seeing right now?
No.
I'm seeing a 9-panel page.
Oh yeah, aren't those great?
It is great.
Except this isn't all right.
I know, but Tom King on this?
Yeah, he is. All right, let me talk about about a 9-panel page. Okay. I wish I had one here to show you. Keith Giffen worked with 9 panels, and often, like he's really well known for doing 9-panel pages. There's other artists that are older, before 90s artists that do 9-panel pages, but he's really does it. And Dave Gibbons uses 9-panel pages. That's in like Watchmen and stuff like that. So there's some other artists, but they tell a story within those 9 panels. It's important, each panel within that page. All this is right here is people talking. That's not a 9-panel page. That's just pictures of people talking. It could have been one long picture of each of these people with super long balloons. There's nothing going on in any different panel except the head's cocked a little differently. Oh, I tilted it this way. Look, I'm Harley. So it's a 9-panel page, but let's not applaud them too much for that.
I wasn't applauding. I was just noting.
Okay, very good. Well, a lot of people. All right, so like on social media,
who are those men that are hugging?
Yeah, really. So in social media, there's a lot of people giving Mitch Gerard's a lot of credit for his 9-panel pages. And I think he did a really good job, but seriously, a blank panel is hardly that big a deal. Darkseid sitting on a couch and then on the next panel eating a carrot isn't that big a deal. No real story is being told within these. If you saw a Legion of Superheroes that Keith Giffen did, or any of his Ambush Bug specials, sometimes it's non sequiturs that are going along with the panels, but everything within that is telling the story. Like every image is important towards the story. And let's not give Mitch Gerard's that much credit. Everybody, let's slow it down a little bit. He's kind of one trick. He definitely is a big repeater. I'm sure he writes copy or whatever on some of his stuff. It's not always drawn. It looks kind of computery, I don't know. It's good, and I really appreciate the fact that that kind of stuff is going on, but it's not the best thing ever, like a lot of people try and make it out to be right now.
Do you remember a comic strip from back in the day called Red Meat?
Oh yeah, I was just talking to somebody else about that.
Red Meat did that, where they would have 3 panels, and sometimes it was always the exact same panel with a different word balloon or no word balloon or some word balloon.
It's just like clip art, it looks like.
Well, it's drawn, and he's very good at black and white illustration, the guy that did Red Meat. But that is what Mitch Gerard 9-panel pages remind me of.
Sure.
because there's a lot of times when there is no change from panel to panel.
Right.
I don't feel strongly one way or another, but that's what it's always reminded me of.
I mean, his stuff when he's doing it in Mr. Miracle is atmospheric.
I think Diablo might be onto something.
So I'm not. Wait, what's that?
Diablo says issue 12 of Mr. Miracle made no sense after several readings.
I got to admit, I read it once towards the end, and I probably should read it again. We just got it back in our reorders as far as the trades. So I have it here. So maybe I'll do that. I liked it. I thought as it was getting towards the end, there was some, I don't know, since there were delays, I felt it was, I don't know, Tom King. Is he really all that great? It's really what this comes down to. I read most of Omega Men and I really liked it, but I heard that the end was a letdown. I read the very beginning of Vision and knew I liked it a lot without reading the rest. And his Batman has, for the most part, been okay. Depends on the artists and sometimes the story. And his Heroes in Crisis is leaving me. I mean, we haven't really talked about it. We've talked about everything around it. This is horrible. I hate it.
Why?
Well, we have talked about it a little bit before. I'm not sure if it was on this, but your superheroes are supposed to be superheroic. Your villains are supposed to be supervillains. And although some of them can have problems that we relate to, I really don't think that that should happen all the time. Indiana Jones, I mean, could you imagine if he was just breaking down the middle of an episode about, all right, he pushes that guy's head into a propeller, right, to save his life. He's not going to go talk to some shrink about it later. I mean, who cares?
If he does, he's going to laugh
you don't
about
want
it.
your heroes to do that. Could you imagine? Oh, I'm so sad. And that's kind of what this is. And I know I'm kind of like I'm my dad's kid. I'm not too big in. I mean, I do believe in mental health and taking care of yourself that way. But I don't think it's always needed. And sometimes it's just BS anyway. Probably is most of the time. But I don't know. That's what this is. And then there's the pretense of the fact or that there's a murder, and is this really a mystery? I don't know. And other people have critiqued this book, and they said that the computer system that these people are talking to in the beginning of the book, they are these recorded sessions are erased later on, but isn't going to a shrink and talking to a psychologist all about getting healthier. It's building upon all the things that you're talking about. How can it be erased and then, addressed later on down the line? And where are these recorded messages coming from in the first place? I mean, I thought these were destroyed, unless this is like the evidence that's out there that isn't really, Lois Lane's been playing a role a little bit in this book and stuff, but great artwork. I like it a lot that way. But I don't know. This story, it's not doing it. I mean, I get to read all these. I mean, this whole issue is 3 characters. We got this caveman character, we've got Wally West, and we've got Harley Quinn. And it's all the story about what brought them to, I guess, this situation. And most of these people are dead anyway. So who cares about what we're reading? That's how I feel about it. Who cares?
Okay.
Sorry, we went on a lot about that.
No, that's what we're here for, ding dong. I mean,
it's been selling very well, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
again, what do I know?
Can you divide it by? Can you divide its fan base by age, by chance? Is it popular with younger people than older people? Is it popular across the board?
I think it's across the board. I think overall the package is well done, and it's been coming out I shouldn't say frequently, on time.
Regularly.
Regularly.
Yeah. Everybody likes a regular book, right? It's like being
Yeah.
regular yourself. Everybody enjoys that once they get older.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, show us the weird Flash embrace again, because that was fun.
Yeah. So this
Look at those men; they're hugging.
look at those ass shots too. Look at that fire right by the
Like he
booty.
looks so sad, almost mortified. Like, what have I done?
Well, all right. So the thing was, when the New 52 was created, there was no Wally West, or at least there wasn't this Wally West.
Yeah.
And he was trapped in the Speed Force, and he needed people to remember who he was so that he could establish a lifeline into this reality.
Oh, like God.
But nobody could remember who he was.
Like God.
Yeah, I guess so. But eventually, Barry Allen did remember, and Wally West is here, even though his kids aren't, and the woman he married is not a person who remembers him.
Is he in the wrong world?
All right. We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
All right, sweet. So put this terrible book down.
Let's get on to what might possibly be the worst book I've ever read.
What? Shut up. No, no chance. Let's go.
Okay. Other than this one. On a week when there was this book that I don't like, there was this book.
Hold on. Age what?
Age of X-Men, the X-Tremists.
This looks like it was written by Rob Liefeld, was it?
Well, he isn't much of a writer. And I got to tell you, either is Leah Williams.
Who?
The woman who wrote this. It has nothing to do with gender. It was just George Jante did the art, and I thought it was pretty good overall. I'm going to let you know right now. It opens up with a scene with, all right, this is the reason why I don't like it. I'm going to tell you right now. I like Edgar Allan Poe. Some people consider him, the master of the short story. And one of the things he says about a short story is that no sentence can be wasted. Everything is important to the short story. If this is a short story, a 5-issue miniseries can be considered, I think, a short story. The first 5 pages in this book are an entire waste. As Bobby Drake and Kitty Pryde have a conversation, and we're in mid-conversation with Bobby Drake laughing. I was going to give you a dramatic reading, but I decided probably I shouldn't do that.
Thank you.
But I've been practicing it. I want you to know that.
Afterwards.
So whether or not a baking sheet or a cookie sheet is the same thing, or whatever, wax paper, it doesn't matter. This is the worst. And so that's 1 page, and that's 2 page. Blob comes out with his shirt open and a dirty mustache, saying, buddy, we gotta get together. We gotta get up. Okay, we gotta go. We gotta get going. And on the way, they're still talking about this baking sheet, cookie, wax paper thing. I hate this book. Nothing's going on. They have a splash page. A splash page is supposed to be dynamic. Something is supposed to happen. I want to read the book. What on that page is going on that makes you want to continue reading the book?
Look at those word balloons, Yule. They are
after the second page. I had to put this down. I gave this book to Jill, and I said, "You got to read this." She doesn't read comic books. She doesn't want to read comic books. She couldn't handle this. I picked it up and I read it again, and I'm like, "Oh my God, they're still going on." And I put it down after this page. I actually ended up reading the book, although I got to admit, I flipped some pages. In the middle of a battle, when things are going on, later on, if I could find it right now, they're still talking about the cookie sheet. And it's just, I like the artwork though. I thought it was pretty good,
All
except
right,
for the fact that like I just made fun of that
let me
lackluster
let
splash
me
page.
ask you a question.
It's a waste.
Let me ask you a question. All right. Does the cookie sheet have some metaphorical significance
I could
later on?
only imagine that I didn't see an episode of Will and Grace that this would refer back to. I'm not.
When you showed
Maybe I didn't watch A Modern Family, or something where something like this might have been on.
yeah,
You know, you tell me. Was it on a Parks and Rec? I didn't see that episode.
it could have
I mean,
been. It could have been. Yeah.
this
Hey,
is
so
crap.
show me that splash page again.
The one where they're sitting by the bus.
The really
I mean, look at
entertaining
this
one.
guy hanging around your kids. Seriously?
The blob?
Yeah, look at that guy.
Yeah, I see him. He looks
Shirted and everything. Oh
yeah,
my
it
God.
looks like a gumdrop. Yeah, okay. See, I think the ad on the opposite page is more interesting than
Oh
the
my gosh, I know. That's so funny that we would say that about Marvel Rising too.
oh boy, I hate ads too. I hate them. But
I
look at
hated
that.
this book.
It's just more
I
interesting to look at.
detested this book. I mean, this is nice. I like that shoulder, and it's a pretty picture, but oh, and not only that, but Iceman and suspenders. I mean, this is a different world.
Is he from Kentucky?
I don't know, man.
Tennessee, maybe.
Do they not wear shirts with their suspenders there?
I don't remember where the what's that mountain range? It's not the Smoky Mountains, is it, in Tennessee? Where the hillbillies are famously from?
The Ozarks.
Oh, I don't know. That's Missouri, isn't it?
I don't know, dude. Don't grill me on geography.
American geography. Don't even grill you on California geography,
I can talk about Westchester. These guys suck.
All right, so that book was a pile. That's good.
That's the last one I'm talking
about. Get it off the screen. Get it out of there.
Right. That's coming out next week.
Hello, Miss Sonia.
Yeah.
Is this still drawn by the same person?
On the inside?
What's the cover? Who did the cover?
Oh, that's Linsner, I think.
Is it?
I can't be sure.
The last one looked like Linsner as well, but it was not.
This is Linsner also.
All right.
I think it looks good. I just pulled the Linsner one for you.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. I read the first issue. This is number 2.
Yeah.
This is coming out tomorrow.
Oh, so we're moving on. That's important.
Well, that's all I wanted to really talk about. I knew I'd really bitch about the Extremists a bit. I think it was a waste. I mean, for a 5-issue series, for that to go on like it was just ridiculous.
So, okay, question though, is that the first issue or is that the last issue?
The first issue.
And okay, so you're probably not going to continue reading it, right?
Not at all. I mean, the thing is like, I understand you want to introduce people to the characters, but you could do that in the middle of a fight. There could be something exciting that draws me in, but I'm, again, like so many writers of Marvels these days, they're sitting around a goddamn table with food, talking about baking sheets. It's ridiculous that every freaking writer just about that works for that company does this all the time. I mean, it's just I never, oh God, I feel like I'm gaining weight every time I read a Marvel comic.
Yeah.
So shop. I mean, what is up? I mean, Peter Parker, when he would come downstairs and has to go to school, he's offered food and he's like, no, I gotta go. I gotta go. He doesn't have time to sit and eat. This comic has to move. We got to get to the freaking story. There's no story in this at all.
Yeah, there is. It's a story about food, baking sheets and shit. Let's be clear. A cookie sheet and a baking sheet. They are the same. They are the damn same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, has this writer written any other comic books?
This is Mark Russell.
What? Not
all right, so
aren't we still talking about that pile of poo-poo?
No, he's great. Mark Russell has done God is Disappointed in You, which is like a funny version of the Bible. And Shannon Wheeler does the art on that. He also did the Flintstones for DC, which is very good. He also did Exit Stage Left, which is the Snagglepuss story about a gay playwright, Snagglepuss from the South.
All
And that
right.
was cool.
That sounds good.
He's recently done the Wonder Twins, which I did not like the first issue.
Yeah, we talked about that last week, right?
Yeah, and he's done a few other things, but right now he's doing Red Sonja. And I like the first issue. She's clothed, so she's like wearing a shift the whole episode.
Well, her outfit, her famous outfit, is horribly impractical. Let's be honest.
They show a couple scenes where she's progressed in life. She's a little bit older. She's a little past the chainmail bikini days. She's a little bit past the kind of like wearing bicycle short type days. You'll know if you saw some of the earlier issues. They've been trying to desexify her up a little bit, or a lot of bit, some people might say.
Yeah.
I think the artwork in this is good. The premise of the story is that she's gone back home and her people have so there's this guy who's going out, and if you don't pledge loyalty to him, he considers that an act of betrayal or wanting to see him dead, because there's a prophecy that says when he stops conquering lands, he will die. So Red Sonja has been made like a chieftain of her land, and she didn't realize that was going to happen. And then right when that happens, that's when she gets the letter saying, "Hey, do it or else." And then she sends, along with the head of the guy that brought the message, her response. So obviously, she's not down.
What did she say?
I don't have the first issue, so I can't quite remember. But nonetheless,
joke. It doesn't matter. She sent the head of the messenger back. I think that it's pretty self-evident what she said. She said no.
She said, "Get bent."
Yeah.
Anyway, I liked the first issue. It was good. The writing had a very modern feel to it. We have been talking recently about the Glenn Cook books, the Black Company, and how those have kind of this feels a little bit more today, whereas Glenn Cook's modern writing style feels a little bit more timeless. So that would be my one big judgment about this in the negative towards Red Sonja. It's just some of the writing just feels very today, like it will be dated in the future. Nonetheless, the story is very good. Right. Or at least the first issue was. I can't wait to read this.
Tonight.
Yeah. I get to read it tonight. You guys can read it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Go to your local comic store.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, you know what I just found out is that there is a comic book store within walking distance to my house.
Oh, that's awesome. You should go in and get Red Sonja.
I'm going to go in and I'm going to ask for all sorts of stuff that I know they don't have on the shelf. That's what I'm going to do. Ask them to order shit for me and then never come and pick it up.
Oh, don't ever do that. That's the worst. How horrible isn't that? Speaking of stores, there is one. So I guess 3 stores are closing again. Like there's 3 more new stores that are closing.
Where?
Well, one is in San Francisco.
San Francisco is an expensive town.
Yeah, and this is like down in the like Daly City kind of area.
That's way south.
Yeah, this is called Two Cats Comics, I think is what the name of it is.
I want to say real estate renting down there is going to be astronomical as well, though.
Yeah, and I heard it's also kind of like it's like in the peninsula area or something like that.
What?
I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, it's hard to get to. It's just not easy. It's like the end of the line for BART and stuff like that.
Okay.
So nobody outside of that area is probably going to where they are.
They were counting on their extremely wealthy local native folks to buy comic books.
If they do.
I mean, some of them probably did, but obviously not enough. Are they closing for lack of business? Did they say something funny?
I think it's that. I mean, a lot of comic store. See, that's the thing. So a lot of these comic stores, when they give their little memos to Bleeding Cool and stuff like that, they don't ever say really everything. You know, I mean, here we've got a record of everything I'm saying about what's going on, but I don't always say everything. You know, money isn't always up. You know, sometimes it's down. The
Yeah.
weather definitely makes a difference, but I don't blame the weather. You know, the construction definitely makes a difference, but I don't blame it. Usually it's, I mean, if there was something hot, something people wanted, it wouldn't freaking matter if we were on fire. People would come in and get it. You know, there's nothing really going on that's super exciting unless you want to freaking read books that remind you of going to your therapist. Oh, this book right here. This one's awesome.
You know, I got tired of that in The Sopranos.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that was what?
But that was a different character. You normally, you know,
what?
you don't expect a gangster to be.
Yeah, but once the shock wore off, you know, it's like he kept going every week.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I was about 3 seasons and I quit.
I stopped after season 1.
Wow. Yeah, everybody loves The Sopranos. I'm not that into it.
It's just all right. I give it very much credit for what it did, and that was it took a whole bunch of money and it created a show of high quality, well written, good production value, and it showed that it could work and make money for a cable company. And ever since then, we've had nothing but, well, ever since then, we've had a great increase in very high quality television shows. Big, long series of shows. We wouldn't have Game of Thrones if it wasn't for Sopranos.
Sure.
So I got to give them props for that. But it seems obvious to me, if you throw money and talent at a project, it's gonna do well for the most part. I mean, you're really hedging your bets if you throw a lot of money and talent at something. It did launch the golden age of TV. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's only going to get better too.
Yeah. Sorry. Now we have streaming services that are basically doing the same thing.
Yeah, and look what they're doing. Like, some of them don't seem to have learned the lesson, you know. They're producing shows and what they're doing is throwing money but not necessarily talent at a lot of those shows.
Mm.
And so you end up with stuff that looks nice but it's really poorly written, and that's never going to work. It's just like a comic book show.
It's kind of like comic books, yeah.
It's the same thing. You got to have a good writer. I mean, they really carry a story. It's a writer that does that, not an artist, not a production team.
Yeah. It's really great.
Spielberg is jealous because he is irrelevant and Netflix is entirely relevant right now.
Yeah, he's sounding really old when he says that.
Well, it's like when Lars Ulrich or whatever, you know, the drummer for Metallica, started poo-pooing the streaming service. Well, they weren't streaming; they were torrent services. He sounded old too. You know, it's like, it's my music. No, dude, you made it and you released it to the public. It's now our music.
Yeah, but that's a little bit more than just a mixtape.
Yeah, Napster. You know, it really isn't though, Yule. It really isn't.
Right. Well, isn't it? I mean, all right, so there's obviously places that do this with comic books.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's one thing if I can't get it physically or digitally to maybe get a copy of it.
Hey man, what if you lived in the Philippines?
Yeah.
And you grow up speaking English, reading.
Yeah, but I don't care what the people in the Philippines do. I care about what people in the Bay Area do. And if they're all doing the same thing as the people in the Philippines, then I do have a problem. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't care what the people in the Bay Area do. But it would be nice if they're, I'm going to come out and say it, if they're stealing comics, it'd be nice if they like put some money in the comic store, if
Well,
they really like it. I mean, look, I've done it. I've downloaded comics, even ones that I could get, but
yeah.
I will admit, for the most part, anything I've ever downloaded, whether it's television or, comic books, probably like 99% of it I've never really actually consumed. It's kind
Yeah.
of like a tree falling and nobody around.
So I think that the burden is actually needs to be placed where it belongs when it comes to comic books, because the medium is waning in popularity, not because people are stealing it, but because people are not putting they're not aiming talent at the right locations, or something else. I mean, it
Well,
has
it's like
nothing
you
to
said.
do it has nothing to do with people downloading comic books
No,
illegal.
that's true. Because, like, again, kind of like what I said, and going along with what you're saying right now, if it was something that was super hot that you had to have,
Yeah.
you download it and then you'd go get it. Also,
Dude, I
I have
would
to
read a
have it.
download.
I gotta go get that.
I would rather read a download so I don't damage my collectible comic
Sure.
book. Like if I'm gonna buy a $4 comic book every month, after just a few days, that's significantly more than a hardback book, you know, and
Mhm.
I get a lot more time out of a hardback book
Sure.
than I do out of a comic book series. A graphic novel, I can read that in an hour, whereas a novel might take me 12, 14 hours.
Uh-huh.
And the cost for the graphic novels is largely higher.
Well, you see, that's
Well,
another thing. Uh, it'd be one. See, these comics. So, Avengers. I'm really enjoying Avengers, but it's coming out bi-weekly.
does
I
that
don't
mean
have a
every 2 weeks?
month to digest it like I used to. It used to be a summer thing that something would come out twice a month. Oh, it's the summertime. Obviously, I got a summer, job, as a kid. I'm somehow getting extra money for not doing anything, I could go and get that other comic book, but um, I don't know. Nowadays, it always feels like if something's a 6-part story, 3 of those issues probably aren't that important. 2, 4, and 5, almost always. Or 1 in the case of Extremists. But it coming out so frequently definitely hurts. I would reread comic books. The second issue comes out, and then I'll reread the first issue of the story. But now it just came out, and I probably finished it the week before the second one came out. I'm not going to reread it for a long time.
So does it feel to you like the industry in general is kind of scrambling, looking for ways to become more popular and relevant again?
Tyler, our friend Tyler,
Yeah,
told
no.
me. I'm letting everybody else know. He and I were having a conversation. I would go over to his place and we'd play Magic the Gathering. And he told me about 3 years ago that he thought Disney was tanking Marvel on purpose. And they don't care about anything except for the intellectual properties, the IPs. And Disney, I guess, is notoriously really crappy when it comes to paying people for movies. And right now, Marvel is notorious for not paying people very much money. And you can tell the people that are probably getting paid a lot, they're probably working with Jason Aaron, Avengers. So McGinnis and Marquez and Diodato just announced that he's leaving Marvel finally, and he's going to go do his own creator-owned stuff. Good luck with that. And so there's another person that probably got a big paycheck that isn't working for them anymore. Carlos Pacheco is still there. He's an old timer, so he's probably getting some good money. Bacalo, and I don't know. I'm sure there's just a couple other people. And then there's the writers. They signed a whole bunch of new writers to long contracts and probably are paying them peanuts. And definitely probably shouldn't have hired them in the first place. You know, especially to exclusive contracts. Those are ridiculous. And these exclusive contracts, it lets them go to work other places. How exclusive is it? And then they have a couple old writers, some people that they don't even really use, so they're like paying them to not do anything, like Chris Claremont. Peter David's not doing anything anymore, and they're just sitting around collecting dust. And Jason Aaron and probably Donnie Cates, although he's still pretty new, so he might not be making a whole lot of money depending on his contracts with them. Yeah, that's what Marvel's all about. Just get this stuff out and get the stuff out.
Do you foresee a day when Marvel disappears?
Well, either that or I don't know. At the same time as DC right now is supposedly I know I went to DC, decreasing their product on the shelves. Mm-hmm. They're supposedly increasing, like they did the exclusive Walmart thing. Now they've ended that, and they're going to start doing it in other places. So it sounds like they're going to be in Walmart. It's going to be in Target. It's not going to be exclusive, so it can be in comic stores. And they're it's like these 100-page giant issues with a little bit of news story and a lot of reprints. So they're decreasing. Supposedly Marvel right now is even now increasing to fill that void. I don't know. Numbers suggest that Marvel actually has printed less comics this last year than the year before, so 2018 to 2017.
Yeah.
But if you look at the War of the Realms tie-ins, and it's ridiculous. A lot of people are complaining about this. A couple of weeks ago, there was the Comics Pro meeting, which is retailers getting together with Marvel and having a convention and just bitching about stuff. And one of the things that people are bitching about coming away from that is the War of the Realms crossover, which is going to see it's going to be $100 a month if you want to collect everything. And on top of that, War of the Realms #1 had something like 17 or 20 covers to go along with it. Jesus, so if you're the kind of person who wanted to buy every single one, and I'm not talking about store exclusive ones, they would have been really shelling out some money. I don't have a customer that does that, but even still.
That sounds like the 90s all over again.
Well, the 90s were more about the gimmick cover. So if it was a hologram, it was on a hologram of everything.
Yeah, buddy.
So that's not a problem, though, if you look at it that way. Yeah, increase the price of the cover, but at least you were getting that important thing on it, whether it be hologram or foil or chromium. I personally like chromium covers.
I do too. They're gorgeous.
They're very hard to ruin.
Old Valiant, man. All that old Valiant covers were great.
Yeah, exactly. Acetate covers, lenticular covers, but those were the entire book. They were all bagged with a card in them. It wasn't just another #1 that wasn't. It wasn't another cover. Every once in a while, if Barry Windsor Smith was doing a special cover for Exo Manowar or Rune or something like that, all of them were the Barry Windsor Smith covers.
Right.
This is more of a new thing that's been going on, I guess, in the 2000s. It's not really a 90s thing. The gimmick aspect is, but there's always been the gimmick aspect, whether it was Spider-Man being in the 3rd issue of a comic book so that they can maintain sales on the 3rd issue. Ooh. Or, I don't know, a bullet hole in it. You remember that comic that did that?
That was Shannon Wheeler, wasn't it?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it was. He shot Too Much Coffee Man #1.
Was it him?
Yeah.
I don't think it was.
Yes, it was.
Well, we'll agree to disagree unless someone has a chat, and the chat can tell us otherwise.
Well,
I'll believe the person that says yes or no.
It doesn't matter. We can look it up easily enough. But I think I'm correct. I could be wrong, but I remember that book having a bullet hole in it and being extremely difficult to find. Legends of the Dark Knight, huh? Maybe
they did. they had 5 different colored covers. Here's one that you might not know. There was an Invisibles cover. I think it was number 5 also.
Was the
And
book
it had a
invisible?
bunch of, pardon me?
Was the book invisible?
No, it was so all of the covers were kind of like a brown paper bag, it felt like.
Okay.
And there were like words on the covers, and each one had a different phrase on it, and there were like 5 of those, and a lot of people don't know about that.
Huh.
So yeah,
Started
I
it
guess,
all off, huh?
yeah,
All right.
yeah, there you go.
Okay.
I mean, there were, there were incentive covers in the 90s, but it never seemed quite the way it is now. Yeah.
No, you're right.
No,
But I definitely remember that there were all sorts. What you say is accurate. There were incentive covers or incentive issues, and like Valiant, they were very guilty of.
yeah.
You would find out that it was issue 10 of Solar Man of War had the first appearance of so and so in it, and then you're like, I got to go back and find that because I don't read that one, but I like that other character, and now I got to go collect that thing, and it was
That's
a mess. It was clever, but I don't know. We've talked about this before. I think that comics would do well if people wanted to collect them again.
Yeah.
But as it is, I think as a society, at least the Western world is moving away from collecting comic books. Like it doesn't feel like people want to collect them much anyway. The same is true about reading material in general, though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that bookstores aren't dead, but they certainly got trimmed down in number.
Yeah.
Comic book stores are going through the same thing. I don't know, man. I think record stores have done the same thing too. I mean, it didn't Amoeba at risk of closing up on Telegraph?
I don't know about that.
I've heard that they were struggling.
Well, I'm sure they are. They've probably always have been to some degree with Rossbians right there.
Constantly moving back and forth up and down the street. It's such a weird.
They
What's up, Eugene?
Who sells weed? Amoeba sells weed?
They do? No.
All right. I'm gonna go get it. Oh, hey, Etienne. Sorry guys, this is a little bit of business I have to ask Etienne. You gotta get that Prince cassette for me on free or on record day.
A Prince cassette. Well, I am going because of that Frank Black album, but
yeah, you gotta go for the Prince thing also for me.
The record store here in town told me to call like 2 days ahead of time and make sure that it was there. So send me a text message for what you want, and I'll ask them 2 days ahead of time. If it's there, I will go and get it. If it is not,
obviously, you care about Prince, right?
I can't. I don't care about Prince.
Yeah, but this is going to be awesome. I'll tell you about it later. Anyway, let me run through a couple comics here.
Why don't you run through a couple of comments? Did you say comics or comments?
Comic books.
Why don't you run through a couple of comments real quick?
All right, you talk.
Well, I mean, there's not much to say. This isn't an ATN's opinion show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. What do you want from me?
What comic book is going to be valuable in the future?
Well,
I've had that before.
You know what?
I had many a time actually.
I do collect comic books. Well, I have a comic book collection, but even my collection, I don't go out of my way to complete anymore. I know I'm no longer hunting for comic books, and part of it is that I have the trades for the issues. So if I want to read the issues, I don't have to have, I mean, I can read them. I don't need the comic books themselves. And I don't know, man. Like collecting is rough, and like what happened to Tyler, his collections got stolen.
Yeah.
And he moved immediately to digital copies. You know, it's like, what's the point of going back and spending all that time and money collecting stuff over again when it's such a transient thing? And if you think about it, what do you do with your collection at the end of your life? Because we're going to die, and our collections are transient. Like they get broken up, they get split out to other people or thrown away. That happens so often.
Mine won't.
Well, maybe yours won't, but I mean, a lot of people's do. There was a time at the bookstore next door to where you work, Half Price. I was working there, and a whole bunch of books came in, and I acquired a bunch of them because they were in really good shape. They were paperbacks, which I collect, and they were very hard to find. And in hindsight, I realize now somebody died. That was somebody's collection that they probably bought those books brand new in the 70s and 80s and never read them. And they collected that stuff, and it all came in together. Somebody brought it in, and yeah, I ended up with a lot of it, but how it's just kind of depressing. You know, it didn't go to a library. It went to a half price books where you know, they probably half of them got destroyed and thrown away. And the other half, you know, got distributed amongst fans. And you know,
when I'm buying comic books from the public, I often tell them the price that I'm offering is also, you know, it might be low, but what I'm trying to tell them is I'm perfectly willing to be a caretaker for this comic book so it can find a proper home in the future. But I ain't going to pay you for it is basically what I'm saying. Because I know that there's like a lack of respect for these things sometimes, or you don't want it to get in the wrong hands, like a half-price books. You know what I mean?
Hold on, though. Hold on. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair to half-price books. They don't know what they're doing, but that doesn't mean that there's a better place. There's no better place, Yule. There is no better place for that stuff to end up. It's either there or a thrift store.
Thrift store would do better.
Thrift store wouldn't do better.
It would be
People
better.
don't go to, you know who goes to thrift stores to look for books? People like me, nuts. Okay? They're like an actual collector of something isn't going to go to the comic book. They're not going to go to the comic book section of a thrift store because most thrift stores will not even have comic books because they get them so rarely.
People still go to swap meets and all sorts of stuff like that.
That's a better option. eBay, that's a much better option. But people who are dealing with estates,
you know what? That's the problem with what is really going on. All right, here's the real problem. Nobody wants to leave their house anymore.
Yeah, I know I don't.
They want to, if I can order it on Amazon or from some company. Oh, I'll get I just saw an ad on my Instagram for that whiskey club. I'm like, oh man, that sounds great. Whiskey from all over the world. Coming to my house. I don't even have to do anything. Just pay some money. How about go there and drink the whiskey there, you know? You travel, you go places. You used to love to do that.
I still do.
Yeah.
But I honestly, on a daily basis, I don't leave my house. Let me tell you what I did yet. Did I tell you already what I did yesterday?
No, you did not.
Because we talked yesterday at length, but we didn't talk about this. All right, so I left my house yesterday because I had to go to the post office, and I was mailing out a book or two books. I don't remember. Anyway, so I had to leave the house for that purpose, and then I was like, oh, I should go to the grocery store, and I should hit the bookstore at the same time, and I wanted to go to the other store, you know, where they sell nice stuff that you might put into your body to make you feel better. And it was all kind of in the same place. So I ended up going to this bookstore up there called Page One that I've only been to once before. And I was only there for like 5 minutes, had to rush through it. I ended up finding some very interesting stuff there, bought it, and immediately sold one of the books for twice what I paid for everything I bought at that store. And then I'm trying to think what else happened. I don't remember, but basically I had a very good day because I left my house. Like but I don't normally leave my house.
I think people have to realize that they have to leave their house to have a good time.
Yeah. Cause like
I do the same thing. I don't go out and do stuff.
The experience that I have at my house, in my house, is very static. It's the same. I can have the same experience every day if I want to. And it's very consistent and it's very controlled. And I don't have that kind of control when I leave the house. But, you know, it's hit or miss. You can leave the house and get hit by a car. Yeah, or you can leave your house and like find some amazing books that you get to turn around and sell like that. Dude, I didn't even list the book. I took a picture of it and posted it on Instagram, and some dude was like, "How much?" I was like, "Oh, funny,
Well,
very great."
yesterday, I'll tell you what I did. Yesterday,
Yeah,
I left the house and I went to Pleasanton and I went to King Kong Comics Cards and Games.
nice.
And I picked up a couple comics. I do not have them here. It was some Doom Patrols that Seth Fisher drew. He is no longer with us, and I don't think I have those, so I needed to get them. There was also some Wizard magazines, and I picked those up.
You're so funny with those wizards, dude.
Well, no, hold on. So you know what else happened yesterday?
No.
Or maybe it was today. King Kong Bundy died.
Yeah, I saw that on the news
I wonder if there's a coincidence there.
that you left your house and he died.
No, that I went to King Kong Comics and he died.
Oh, it was funnier the way I put it. But,
All right.
oh, eBay hauls. Let's talk about that. I've been trying to get Yule to do Instagram and stuff like that, about even videos about the stuff that they bring into their store, or the customers bring into their store.
Comments on Instagram. I've been doing it lately.
I have seen that, and I think you should continue to do it. I find the stuff fascinating personally, and then
It's a lot more work than you'd think. You know, getting a good shot.
no. Well, I know exactly how much work it is. Remember who you're talking to.
Well, I'm trying to, but yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing a lot more, and I'm actually getting a lot of traction too. I got over 200 likes on one.
I have noticed that as well, and you would be foolish to not use this as an avenue to which you are selling more comics. Or
yeah,
through which you were selling more comics. It's a great opportunity for your store.
Yeah, yesterday Nettie Okorafor came in and signed her Shuri's and LaGuardia comic books.
Nice.
She's a science fiction author.
Who is she?
It's two N's, so Nettie Okorafor, I think is how you say her name.
I don't know this person.
She does. It's a segment of science fiction. I think it's like futuristic black speculative fiction or something like that. Afrofuturism is what it's called.
Okay.
And anyway, she does alien stories and stuff like that. Earth.
Nice.
Yeah, interesting. Anyway, she's she kind of got. I think she worked on one of those Black Panther books, the side projects that Ta-Nehisi Coates was kind of like shepherding.
That makes sense.
So there you go.
Okay. How did that go?
Well, I wasn't here. I was at King Kong Comics. I had the day off yesterday, actually.
Wait. Hold on a minute. Yesterday was Monday.
Yeah.
And your day off is now Monday?
No, it was yesterday.
So normally it's Thursday though, right?
Yeah, it still is.
Okay, good. We're on the same page.
Yeah,
because we're doing the Black Company in 2 Thursdays.
Yes.
Anyway,
so Black Hammer 45 is a new Black Hammer series that's coming out.
Do you know what I see on that cover?
What do you see?
I see a penis.
Well, if that's what you see.
That is what I see. I see a penis in the shape of an airplane.
Okay, that's drawn by Matt Kent with writing by Jeff Lemire and Ray Fox. I do believe they're all friends.
Why don't you think I'm funny? I don't understand this. Like, I never make you laugh, but I make myself laugh all the time.
Well, I feel the same way. So Conan's coming out.
Get out of town.
This is another Jason Aaron comic. He does the Avengers.
God,
this is going to have artwork in it by Gerardo Zaffino.
Tell me more about him.
He is, I guess, the son of Jorge Zaffino, who is no longer with us. Maybe my favorite Punisher story was drawn by Jorge Zaffino. He's very sketchy with his inks, and I really like his style, and his son follows suit. I really am looking forward to this issue. I did not know he was going to be drawing it, but of course I like this series. Savage Sword of Conan's also been very good. So Cosmic Ghost Rider destroys the Marvel history. I'm sure
Wait a
it'll be
minute.
funny. It's
Is
written
that
by who's a comedian.
who drew that cover?
I'm
That
gonna
looks like
guess
Ormston.
who?
That looks like Ormston.
No,
You don't think so?
no, it's too liney. Let me see. The cover artist was Jesus. Here's
It
how
was
many there.
not Jesus, I promise.
There was a Rob Liefeld one, an Eldelzo Corona one, Ron Lim, Jerome Pena. I bet this is Jerome Pena.
Okay.
There was a Carlos Pacheco one, a Mariano Tabia one. You see the problem? They can't sell 50,000 comics. They can sell 25,000 times 3 covers, or whatever the hell the numbers would make. I don't know who the artist is, but it looks good. I like this Hulk right here. Look at
Yeah, it's
that.
beautiful.
That's a cool head, cool brow, very Frankenstein-y.
You know what? I bet you they could fix the whole problem if they made their cover artists do books and just get rid of the rest of their artists.
That's always difficult. A cover
No, I
artist is
know.
not someone who can necessarily do sequentials. And, back in the day, Kirby did all the layouts for anybody that couldn't do that. And Al Milgrom was the guy who kind of did stuff like that when I was a kid, growing up. If a person like Kevin McGuire was new to drawing comic books, Keith Giffen did the layouts, thumbnails, so that they knew how to draw the panels.
Uh-huh.
But there aren't really guys like that in bullpens anymore, because everybody can do stuff from their tablet or send it from their home. And everybody had to work in New York back in the day.
Yeah.
You had to be there. I
Right.
mean, one of the reasons why I knew I was never going to make it as a writer is there's no way I was going to go live out in New York.
You've heard the term mail it in, right?
Yeah,
Phone it in?
Yeah, I tried breaking in, and
No, phone it in. You've heard that term?
well, there was obviously fax machines, but now
Yeah,
you
but
can.
the point is there's a connotation to phoning it in that's negative. That means that you're only kind of half-assing it, right? Do you remember when Yahoo hired Marissa Mayer?
Who?
Marissa Mayer to take over as CEO about maybe 6-7 years ago?
I'm not familiar.
Anyway, so she's this small blonde woman who came in to Yahoo who was failing, and she said, "Hey, those of you that have been working from home, you're coming in. You can't work from home anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody works from home." And it didn't fix their company, but yeah, it might have been a mistake. It didn't fix their company, but at the same time, she has a very good point. Like, all of these people are just at home. They don't talk to each other. They're using IM or something else to communicate. Right. How much stuff is lost and how much productivity is lost? How many people do you think actually can get a full productive day's work from home?
I mean, obviously, you have to be the right-minded person to be able to do something like that.
Yeah, and I don't think that's 100% of the population.
I know I am scatterbrained at work, so I'm scatterbrained at home.
Well, let's talk about scattered and why you're scattered. I mean, there's stuff that you do that scatters your brain, right? Like, if you wanted to be sharp all the time, you would not.
Hey, let's not talk about my father shaking me as a baby, okay? That's neither here nor there.
All right.
So anyway, Cosmic Ghost Rider. It should be funny. Speaking of someone who does not phone it in, and because of that, it comes out very, very late. Doomsday Clock. Gary Frank is doing his best artwork. There's all sorts of characters in this. I am actually behind on the series.
That is good looking.
It's always good. Like, Gary Frank's been great for years. He just it takes him a little bit longer now, I'm sure, these days. And who knows if Jeff Johns is getting him these scripts on time also. But Doomsday Clock, that, for anybody that doesn't know, is a Legion flight ring. This is important to people that care about DC continuity or the DC past. But of course, this is Doomsday Clock and it's not the DC past. So I'm not sure how excited everybody should really be for it. But as far as like continuity and answering questions, this should be a pretty good issue. Again, I'm a little bit behind, and this is, well, about as I'm about 3 issues behind, and this has taken so long to come out. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
All right.
Nonetheless, a new issue of Doomsday Clock is finally coming out.
How is it selling?
Pardon me?
How has it been selling?
It's been selling very well. There is a so there. All right. So a lot of people talk about series coming out late and how that affects sales, and I always thought that to be true. But the owner of Comic Relief, Rory, told me that he does not believe that to be true. But of course, he sold 8-Ball well, and that would only come out once every 6 months. And other drawn in quarterly books like Optic Nerve and things like Age of Bronze, stuff like that would come out when they came out, and Love and Rockets, and those always sold well for us. And lateness didn't really matter. Dark Knight Returns still sold well in the last issue, even though it was super late. And Doomsday Clock is just like that. The numbers have been going up ever since the beginning, and I've enjoyed its progress in the store quite a bit. If only it did come out a little bit more frequently, but then, I still got 3 more issues to look forward to.
If it came out more frequently, there would be the risk that the quality was low.
Yeah, probably. And not only that, it wouldn't be coming out in the future. And I have something to look forward to, for a store. Something that people are actually coming in and buying.
It's too bad every comic's not good.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, what people think is good, is not necessarily what I think is good.
Sure. There's Big Barda.
I'm just showing you some books that are coming out.
Good.
Yeah.
Female Fury
6-issue miniseries.
Yep.
Number 2. I like the first issue.
How many issues is it?
Pardon me?
How many issues did you say it was going to be?
6 issues.
How many?
6.
It has to do, it's the computer, there's software that basically, it doesn't delete your audio, but it turns your volume way down, or mine way down, like depending on who's talking first.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's why I couldn't hear you.
I see.
Anyway.
So this is like a satirical take on the female Furies and how they don't get respect because, they're women.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty one note. I'm hoping that this issue can, gets a little bit better. There was a cliffhanger at the end of the first, so there is a reason to read this. Basically, they didn't enjoy the way this one person was treating a little girl. And I can't remember which character. I think it was Ariel. She kills that person, this man. And, they're going to have to cover it up and whatnot. Anyway.
Oh, funny.
I think it will be good. I'm looking forward.
Good. Yeah. I love Big Barda.
Big Barda.
She's great.
Yeah, this is a story back when Big Barda was still a female Fury, a disciple of Apocalypse,
sure.
Not a good person.
Sure.
I'm very excited. A new issue of Green Lantern. If I had to buy my own comic books and I didn't own a store, this would be one of the very few comics I would definitely be buying all the time. It's sold very well here in the store, the first 4 issues. And although the questions that number 3 raised at the end of that issue weren't really fully addressed in the 4th issue, it still is a cloud that's hanging over Hal Jordan's head. I don't want to really tell too much about what's going on. Each issue has been, for the most part, standalone with, obvious things that are connecting the issues going for, throughout. They're weird and wild, and the artwork is always good by Liam Sharp. Grant Morrison is quite possibly my favorite writer in comic books all time. He very rarely lets me down. And even when I don't understand what he's telling me, I'm pretty sure in a few years I'll get to it. Anyway, the art's fantastic, like I said. Sorry, there's so many ads. But as far as a comic book that costs $3.99 regularly, this is definitely one I like a lot. Definitely worth the price.
You've been into Green Lantern as long as I can remember.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I like Green Lantern. I mean, it's not like he's my favorite character or anything like that, but I have read quite a bit of Green Lantern.
Okay. I think that question's aimed at you.
What was that?
Ever read his multiverse run?
Multiverse run. Oh, Multiversity. Grant Morrison, yes.
Oh yeah, that was my misread, not his mistype.
All right. Multiversity, yeah, that was wild. He was basically telling a story on on a different Earth. So there's multiple Earths where maybe Superman's not a good guy,
Ooh.
and basically there was a connecting thread through the whole thing. And
Okay.
yeah, Grant Morrison, fantastic. Yeah. Final Crisis, read his Batman that precedes it, his Batman and Robin. He helped create Damian as a character. His work on X-Men was fantastic up until the last 4 issues, and maybe 8 issues. Yeah, Grant Morrison, Animal Man. He probably the worst thing he's ever done was helping Mark Miller get into comic books. I'm just joking.
Funny
probably Happy personally is my most disliked Grant Morrison book.
Okay.
Yeah, Justice League. He did Justice League. Yeah, he's just great. There's a Justice League trade that's coming out tomorrow. That is the first volume of his, the first 9 issues of his Justice League.
Oh, it's not this then.
Oh, Justice League by Scott Snyder and Oscar Jimenez. I can't remember who it is. I don't think it's Oscar. This guy's good though, let me tell you. Jorge Jimenez, sorry. There was an Oscar Jimenez at one time. Let's get one that's not advertisements. There you go. Look at that.
Yeah. Now there's a splash page.
Well, it's not a splash page.
Close enough. Better than that Marvel crap.
Gotta be one panel. Basically. It's usually where the names of the people doing it. There's your splash. Kind of like that.
All right, gotcha.
Anyway, that's not really it. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Justice League's been really good. I like Scott Snyder's stuff for the most part. Sometimes it's a little convoluted, but he's always working with really good illustrators. And for the last few issues of Justice League have been really good. So I'm really looking forward to this. Supposedly this is a big 6-part storyline. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, good.
Oh, we were talking about Craven earlier. This is the Hunted storyline. This is a point MU. I don't even want to get into what that is all about. Basically, if you want to read more about the Hunted storyline before it starts, that's what this is. Nick Spencer's writing it. He's the regular Spider-Man writer. And it looks like Felicia Hardy, the Black Cat's going to be involved. I'm a big Black Cat fan. And the artwork looks pretty okay. So, any Spider-Man person that, oh my God, so much advertisement.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go. Nice great cover too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And last but not least,
that's a nice cover.
I like it.
What's up with that crotch shot though?
This area, yeah, exactly.
Why is my gaze automatically pulled directly to that bulge?
Why does it have to be gaze?
Why is it that there's literally there's a crotch on the cover?
Yeah, exactly. That's the first thing I thought too.
I see Magneto and then I'm like, oh my.
Oh my.
What's right that?
What are you gonna do?
Good Lord. Who made that decision?
Well, I assume it was the illustrator.
Yeah, somebody at Marvel approved that crap.
Well, even still.
Oh wait, I forgot. It was an intern.
thought that there was a certain segment of the comic book community that enjoys X-Men. So this is probably a right up their alley.
It doesn't. That's not the point. The point is that
it obviously is the point.
no. If it was the point, it would be a Dick and Balls comic, right? And it's not. It's a sexuality. We talked about this last week. Sexuality has always been kind of understated in the Marvel and DC universes, and this is an fairly explicit crotch shot.
Oh, it's
on the cover, dude.
Don't be such a prude.
I'm not prude, but what are they trying to say right there?
I don't know, but that's the cover I picked.
It's just a little bit. It's in poor taste, is what it is.
So, poor taste?
Yes.
Oh my!
It's a bad art direction choice.
Well, nonetheless, X-Men. Oh, look at this! Do you see that? Do you see that?
Black. The what?
Pulling. Look at that static.
Was it dry there?
No, it's like all the covers in the last week or two have been very staticky. Look at that. Anyway, X-Men, man, I am a big X-Men fan. And it's really the only reason why I'm still sticking around.
Yeah.
Basically, after the first 10 issues that were weekly, the X-Men that were in that storyline disappeared into the Age of X so that we could read really horrible books like X-Tremists.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, on Earth, in our reality, Cyclops and Wolverine are fighting against different groups that don't like mutants, all the while trying to collect mutants so that they can get together to try and figure out what happened to their friends. This is one of the writers that got a long contract with Marvel, even though they only did like 2 books beforehand. Matthew Rosenberg.
Right.
There's a lot of people that like him. I haven't read any of that earlier work because I'm not really a fan of gun comic books. And it really seems that that's all that new writers ever do. It's either horror or gun comic books. Oh, look, I wrote a really sassy woman with a gun on the cover. Oh, look, I'm writing a story about a former hitman that's now a nanny. Oh, he's got a pacifier and a baby in one hand, and he's got a gun in the other. Ooh. Or it's a horror story. And you know what? That's lame. I'm done with that stuff.
Yeah.
So Matthew Rosenberg, based on an awesome comic or two, got the gig to do a Marvel book and or to get a contract with Marvel, and now he's doing X-Men. Hey, Eugene.
That's not bad. Getting an X-Men book is, from Marvel, that's a big deal, isn't it?
Used to be a big deal. Of course, that was before they sold to Fox. To do the movies, and then they kind of didn't really want to put a whole lot of effort into their X books, even though they knew they had to keep them going. So that's why there was no Uncanny X-Men, but there was Extraordinary X-Men, All New X-Men, All New X-Men again, and then on and on, other X-Men's. So yeah, that's what's going on. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing this. It's out of loyalty to the brand that I'm keeping going on, but I'm not really digging it that much. I'll probably give it to the end of the storyline to see if I'll keep going.
All right.
And that's the books I'm looking forward to next week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Who's your buddy?
My buddy? He's in frame. This is a guy named RM.
Nice. What's up, man? How's it going?
Do this. Go wave in front of the camera. There you go. Boom.
Look at that. That was a hand.
So it's probably around 9, right?
It's 10:30 for me, so it's 9:30 for you.
And we've been going at this long.
Yeah. Well, that's basically it for the show, right?
Yeah.
Didn't go over the comic
No, nothing like that.
Why don't you wind it down for the viewers, Yule? Say goodbye to everybody in the chat.
Yeah. So everybody, thanks for showing up. Thanks for chatting. Did we say hello to everybody that's in?
Well,
goodbye to everybody that's in.
hello, everybody that's in still.
Thanks for showing up. Thanks for anybody that's showing up after the fact. Leave comments down below if you want us to answer any questions in future episodes, or if you just want to say I was foolish about that Extremist book. It was the greatest thing ever. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I don't think I am on that one. And if you could give us a thumbs up on the video, supposedly that's a big deal for future things.
Is it?
And yeah, next week we'll see you then.
All right. See you guys.